So I, female, 27, have found myself in this ridiculous situation with my cousin Melinda, female, 25, and honestly, I'm still kind of shaking typing this out. I know family drama is super common, but this has gotten so out of hand, I just need some outside perspective because I feel like I'm going crazy. And yes, I already tried talking to my mom about it, but she just wants me to keep the peace as usual. Melinda and I grew up 3 streets apart. Our moms are sisters and they're super close, so we basically spent our entire childhoods together. She's always been weirdly competitive with me since we were kids. I'm not trying to sound full of myself or whatever. I promise I'm actually super insecure about most things, lol. But it's like she always had to one-up me or copy whatever I was doing. When I joined debate team in high school, she suddenly had to join too, even though she hated public speaking before that. When I got into state university, she applied there too, even though she always said she wanted to go to art school. She even dyed her hair the exact same color as mine last year. My boyfriend Michael, male, 29, and I have been together for almost 2 years now. He's the most laid-back person I've ever met and hardly ever gets annoyed by anything. We met at work. We both work for a pharmaceutical company. Different departments though. He's in research and I'm in clinical trials coordination. Anyway, last weekend was our annual family barbecue at my parents' place. It's this whole big thing where like 30+ family members show up and everyone gets day drunk on my dad's special margaritas. Michael came with me, and this was the first time he was meeting a lot of my extended family. I was really nervous about it because my family can be a lot, and I really wanted them to like him. Everything was going fine at first. My dad immediately pulled Michael into some conversation about football. My mom was showing off pictures of her garden to anyone who would look. Then Melinda showed up. She was like 2 hours late, which is typical Melinda behavior. She always has to make an entrance. And she was wearing this super low-cut sundress that was inappropriate for a family barbecue. At first, she was doing her usual thing of kissing everyone on the cheek and being super loud about how amazing everyone looked. Then she spotted Michael. I knew immediately something was going to happen. She came over to us and immediately ignored me completely. Didn't even say hi, just put her hand on Michael's arm and asked who this handsome stranger was in this weird breathy voice I've never heard her use before. Michael told her we'd been together for almost 2 years now. I saw Melinda's mood change. She gave me this look that was angry or jealous. For the next 2 hours, she basically followed Michael around the barbecue. Every time I turned around, she was right there laughing too loud at everything he said, touching his arm, asking him questions about his job, his family, his workout routine, while feeling his bicep. At one point, she took food off his plate, asking if she could try it. Who does that? I tried to not make a big deal of it, like maybe she was just being friendly. But then I went to help my mom bring out more food, and when I came back, Melinda had taken my seat next to Michael and was showing him pictures on her phone, sitting so close their legs were touching. Michael looked uncomfortable and kept trying to include me in the conversation, but she would just talk over me or change the subject. I finally had enough when I heard her tell him she should show him around the city sometime, because she knows all the best spots tourists never find. Michael has lived here for 5 years, by the way, longer than she has. I walked over, and I'll admit I was pretty pissed at this point. I told Melinda that my dad needed help with the grill just to get her away from us. She gave me this fake innocent look and said I shouldn't be so possessive, that she was just being friendly and women should support other women. I kinda lost it. I didn't yell, but I definitely said loud enough for people nearby to hear that there's friendly, and then there's whatever this is, and asked her to please stop hitting on my boyfriend right in front of me at a family barbecue. She immediately started crying, like theatrical sobbing, saying how could I accuse her of such a thing? She was just being nice, I was always so mean to her, etc., etc. My aunt came rushing over and started consoling her while giving me dirty looks. The whole barbecue got super awkward after that. Melinda left early with her mom, making this whole dramatic exit saying she couldn't be somewhere she wasn't wanted. Most of my family seems to think I overreacted and embarrassed her for no reason. But am I crazy? Michael said afterward that he was really uncomfortable with how she was acting and was glad I said something, but now I'm getting texts from family members saying I should apologize to her. And then yesterday, I got a 10-page letter from Melinda about women supporting women and how I'm clearly insecure in my relationship and taking it out on her. She even said Michael was clearly enjoying their conversation before I rudely interrupted. Is this normal cousin behavior? Am I supposed to be okay with her hitting on my boyfriend? And now I'm dreading my parents' anniversary dinner in a few weeks because I know she'll be there and it's gonna be so awkward. Edit. Oh my freaking God, I didn't expect this to blow up so much. To answer some common questions. Edit 2. No, this isn't the first time she's done something like this. She dated my high school boyfriend like 2 weeks after we broke up, even though she always said she thought he was gross. Edit 3. For those asking if Michael could have been encouraging her, absolutely not. He was visibly uncomfortable and kept trying to include me or create distance. He's actually the one who showed me some of her behavior that I missed because I was helping in the kitchen. Edit 4. Yes, I've tried talking to my parents about her behavior before. They always say the same thing about keeping the peace and how that's just how Melinda is. Edit 5. To the person who asked if I'm jealous of Melinda, honestly no. I mean, she's pretty, I guess, but our lives are completely different. I've always been more focused on my career while she jumps from job to job and relationship to relationship. I just want her to respect basic boundaries. Now for the first update. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone who commented on my last post. I seriously didn't expect so many people to share similar stories about their own manipulative relatives. It's comforting to know I'm not alone dealing with this kind of family stuff. After getting that ridiculous 10-page letter from Melinda about women supporting women, while she was actively hitting on my boyfriend right in front of me, I was honestly planning to just ignore it. My parents' 30th anniversary dinner is coming up in a few weeks, and I really didn't want to create more problems. I'm already dreading being in the same room as Melinda, but I figured I could just avoid her and focus on celebrating my parents. But then, Michael showed me something that made me really angry. Apparently, Melinda somehow got his phone number, probably from my mom's family contact list, and has been texting him since the barbecue. At first, it seemed innocent enough, asking about his work, sending memes, basic stuff, but then the text started getting inappropriate. She was sending late-night texts asking what he was wearing. She sent messages saying she wished he was with her instead of me, with a winky face, and she kept suggesting they meet up just as friends when I was working late. One text literally said she didn't think I needed to know about them hanging out. Michael had been responding politely but distant because he didn't want to cause more family problems. He's way too nice sometimes. He showed me all the texts and said he wasn't sure how to handle it without making things worse. I was really angry. At the same time, I found out through my mom that Melinda has been telling basically everyone in the family that I overreacted to innocent friendliness at the barbecue and made her look bad over nothing. My cousin Jamie called to warn me that Melinda was making herself look like a victim and making me seem like a crazy, jealous girlfriend. Several relatives have apparently been calling my mom about my jealousy issues and suggesting I should apologize to Melinda. My mom didn't tell me this at first because she wanted to protect me, but finally told me everything when I kept asking why she sounded weird whenever I brought up the barbecue. So, I did something that maybe wasn't the most mature response, but I was just so frustrated. I created a private Facebook group called Women Supporting Women and invited all the female members of my family except Melinda. Then I posted screenshots of her inappropriate text to Michael alongside a message about how real women's solidarity means respecting boundaries and relationships, not using feminism as a shield for bad behavior. The responses started coming in immediately. My mom commented that she had no idea Melinda was texting Michael and seemed genuinely shocked. Cousin Jamie shared that Melinda did something similar with her husband before they were married, always finding excuses to text him and sending revealing pics accidentally. My Aunt Nina wrote about how disappointed she was in Melinda's behavior. My grandmother suggested that maybe the family needed to have some kind of intervention with Melinda about her behavior. But then, Cousin Vicky, Melinda's sister, jumped in defending Melinda, saying she's just naturally flirtatious and doesn't mean anything by it. My mom responded with examples of Melinda's pattern of behavior over the years, including the time she wore white to my cousin's wedding and when she applied for the same internship as me after I mentioned I was excited about it. The weird thing is, Melinda's sister eventually admitted that Melinda has always been weirdly competitive with me specifically. She said Melinda has always wanted what I have. Then Aunt Charlene started posting angry comments defending her daughter and saying I was trying to turn the family against Melinda because I'm insecure. A bunch of other relatives expressed shock at how explicit some of the texts were. My cousin Beth literally wrote, "What the frick is wrong with her?" Which surprised me because Beth never swears. And then somehow the whole conversation turned into this massive discussion about family dynamics going back years. I didn't expect the group to blow up like that. There were dozens of comments, and several relatives called me directly to talk about it. I swear I wasn't trying to start a family war. I just wanted to defend myself against Melinda's false narrative that I'm some crazy jealous person. I mean, maybe creating the group was kind of passive-aggressive, but what was I supposed to do? Just let her keep lying about me and hitting on my boyfriend. Later that evening, Aunt Charlene called me crying. She accused me of trying to turn the family against Melinda. During our call, she asked why I was humiliating her daughter, claimed the texts were taken out of context, and insisted Melinda is just naturally affectionate. I brought up Melinda's pattern of behavior and she got defensive, accusing me of thinking I'm better than everyone. I lost my temper and told her she enables Melinda's behavior. She cried harder, said I was tearing the family apart, and hung up on me. After that, the situation quickly escalated. Family members started taking sides. Melinda found out about the Facebook group, and instead of addressing the inappropriate texts, she started posting cryptic messages on Instagram about fake family and backstabbers who will get what's coming to them. Michael feels really guilty about all this family stuff, but he supports me standing up for myself. He keeps saying he should have shut down Melinda's flirting more directly at the barbecue, but honestly, I don't think it would have made a difference. This isn't about Michael, it's about Melinda's pattern of behavior toward me. I thought things had reached a standoff until yesterday, when Melinda's response went way beyond what I expected. I'm still shocked about it. She went absolutely crazy in a way that surprised even the family members who had been defending her. I don't know what to do now. Should I try to make peace for the sake of my parents' anniversary dinner? Or should I stand my ground? Part of me feels like giving in now would just teach Melinda that she can get away with anything if she makes a big enough scene. Edit. Since so many people are asking what Melinda did yesterday, she created a series of TikToks where she vaguely talks about having a toxic, jealous cousin who's trying to ruin her life over a misunderstanding. She never says my name, but includes enough details that anyone who knows us would figure it out. And a couple of my coworkers have already seen them and asked me about it. It's so embarrassing professionally. To those saying I shouldn't have created the Facebook group, yeah, looking back, maybe it wasn't the most mature response. But after weeks of Melinda twisting the story and making me look like the bad guy to everyone, I just snapped. And honestly, seeing the texts shocked a lot of family members who had been believing her version of events. For those asking about Michael's reaction, he's been super supportive but feels caught in the middle. He offered to directly tell Melinda to stop texting him, but I was worried that would just give her more attention, which is what she seems to want. Now I'm thinking maybe he should have. To answer the questions about previous patterns, yes, this is just the latest in a lifelong pattern. When I got my first serious boyfriend in high school, she suddenly started showing up wherever we were. When I got my job at the pharmaceutical company, she applied there too. Didn't get the job though. It's exhausting. Now for the second update, I'm so sorry it's taken me so long to update. Honestly, this past month has been insane, and I've been trying to just process everything. So, where to even start? In my last post, I mentioned that Melinda had gone way beyond what I expected, and a bunch of people asked what she did. Well, buckle up because this got so much worse. After I created that Facebook group where I shared her inappropriate text to Michael, which, yeah, maybe wasn't the most mature thing, but I was done with her lying to everyone, Melinda completely lost it. Like, she took it to a level I never thought she would. So first she made these TikToks, like 5 or 6 of them, where she talks about having a toxic, jealous cousin who's trying to destroy her reputation over a misunderstanding. She never actually said my name, but included enough specific details that anyone who knows us could figure it out. She even mentioned the pharmaceutical company where I work, which was so inappropriate. And then some of my coworkers saw them and started asking me about it. My team lead asked if everything was okay with my family because he saw some concerning videos online. I wanted to die. I thought about confronting her directly, but my parents begged me not to because they thought it would just make everything worse. So I tried to just focus on work, but the situation kept following me there. Because then she created these fake accounts and started leaving negative reviews about our company, specifically mentioning me by name, saying I was unprofessional and had shared confidential information, which is completely false. I have never shared anything confidential ever. My manager was actually really understanding when I explained the situation, thank God. But it was still incredibly stressful having to defend myself at work for something that had nothing to do with my job performance. Like, I already have imposter syndrome sometimes, and this just made it so much worse. But what happened next is what truly shocked me. Last Tuesday, I was in the middle of compiling some data for our quarterly report when the receptionist called saying there was a family emergency at the front desk. I rushed out there thinking maybe something happened to my parents, and it was Melinda. Standing there in the middle of our company lobby, I asked her what she was doing here, and she told me we need to talk about what I did in this super loud voice. I asked her to please step outside so we could talk privately, but she refused, saying I needed to face her publicly, just like I had publicly humiliated her. I was literally shaking at this point. I could not believe she was doing this at my workplace. My colleague Keith was walking through the lobby and saw what was happening and came over asking if everything was okay. Melinda immediately turned to him and said I had been spreading lies about her to our entire family. Keith looked so confused and uncomfortable. I apologized to him and tried to get Melinda to lower her voice, but she just got more upset. She started saying, I always have to look perfect at work and everyone should know what I'm really like. I don't even remember everything she said because I was honestly in shock. Security finally came and asked her to leave, and as they were escorting her out, she literally shouted, "This isn't over!" I had to go hide in the bathroom for like 20 minutes because I was so embarrassed and upset I couldn't stop crying. And before anyone asks, no, I've never seen Melinda act this unhinged before. Competitive and boundary crossing, yes, but this was a whole new level of crazy. If that wasn't bad enough, I found out later that day that she had also contacted Michael's workplace. She actually told his supervisor that Michael had been leading her on and sending her inappropriate messages. Thank God, Michael had already given his boss a heads up about the weird family situation, so the accusations were immediately dismissed. But still, who does that? I was honestly at my breaking point. This had gone from annoying family drama to actively trying to damage our careers and reputations. I was seriously considering getting a restraining order or something because this felt so out of control. But then something unexpected happened. My grandmother called for an emergency family meeting at her house that weekend, and somehow she got everyone to come, even people who hadn't spoken to each other in weeks. When we got there, everyone was really uncomfortable. I was nervously picking at a thread on my grandma's couch. Nobody was talking, just sitting there in silence. Finally, my grandmother called everyone to order by tapping her cane on the floor. She said the family division had gone on long enough and it was time to resolve things. Immediately, my Aunt Charlene, Melinda's mom, started blaming me for publicly shaming her daughter with the Facebook group. But then my grandmother did something that shocked everyone. She cut Aunt Charlene off mid-sentence and said, "I've seen everything. All the evidence." Turns out my grandmother had joined the Facebook group using my cousin Jamie's account. She had seen all the texts Melinda sent to Michael. She had seen the TikToks. She had seen everything. She looked directly at Melinda and told her, "This pattern of behavior is inappropriate and has to stop. It's not the first time this has happened in our family." And then my mom revealed something I had never known before. Apparently, Melinda's father, my uncle, who divorced Aunt Charlene years ago, had once pursued my mom inappropriately back when my parents first started dating. He had done almost exactly the same things Melinda was doing now, sending messages, showing up places, trying to cause problems. The entire room went completely silent. My grandmother said very firmly that unhealthy patterns were repeating and they needed to stop before more damage was done to the family. What happened next was unexpected. Aunt Charlene completely broke down crying, like sobbing uncontrollably. She admitted she had always known about her ex-husband's behavior, but had chosen to blame other women instead of him. And apparently she had never really dealt with any of it in therapy or anything, just buried it. Melinda looked genuinely shocked, like she had no idea about any of this history. She just sat there staring at her mom with this expression I can't even describe. And then in this really quiet voice, Melinda actually admitted that she had always felt competitive with me because she thought I had everything she wanted. Stable parents, good grades, healthy relationships. She acknowledged sending the inappropriate texts to Michael and apologized for the workplace incidents. She actually seemed sincere, which I've never seen from her before. My grandmother insisted that both Melinda and Aunt Charlene needed to get actual professional help to address these patterns, and surprisingly, they both agreed. Melinda promised to remove all the social media posts and send apology emails to both our workplaces. It's been about 3 weeks since that family meeting, and things are better. Not great, but definitely better. Melinda and I had a private conversation where we agreed to keep our distance for now, but maybe try to rebuild something in the future when she's worked through some of her issues. She's actually enrolled in some community college courses, which seems like a positive step toward finding her own path instead of copying mine. My parents' anniversary dinner is this weekend, and both Melinda and Aunt Charlene are coming, but they've promised to be on their best behavior. Michael is coming too and says he's not worried about it, though I'm still a little nervous, to be honest. I still regret how public and messy this all became, but I don't regret standing up for myself. Michael and I are doing really well. We're actually talking about getting engaged next year. Don't tell my family yet, lol. I guess what I've learned is that family relationships are complicated and sometimes painful, but boundaries are important even with family. And sometimes the drama goes back generations in ways you don't even realize. Also, healing isn't always neat or complete. Some days I'm still angry about everything that happened, but at least now the truth is out there and we can all move forward. Eat it. Since a lot of people are asking, yes, Melinda really did send those apology emails. My boss actually called me into his office to show me hers. It was really comprehensive. She took full responsibility and made it clear that I had done nothing wrong professionally. Michael's boss got one too. To everyone saying my grandmother is a badass, yes, she is. She's 78 and still terrifies all of us when she gives the look. After the meeting, she pulled me aside and told me she was proud of me for standing up for myself, which made me cry all over again. For those asking if I think Melinda and I will ever be close again, honestly, I don't know. There's a lot of water under that bridge, but I'm willing to see if things change once she's been in therapy for a while. People can change if they really want to. Several people asked if I've looked into therapy for myself after all this. Yes, I actually started seeing someone last week. All this family stuff brought up some issues I probably should have dealt with a long time ago about why I always felt the need to keep the peace instead of setting boundaries.